Good morning, it's Deb Watson. Today you're going to learn exactly how to apply a great watercolor background along with this Bluebird tutorial. I'll also show you an easy way to apply shading for flowers and feathers. Starting with the colors, I'm using three primary colors: phthalo blue, lemon yellow, and pyrrole red. I'm using Arches watercolor paper, but most good brands of watercolor paper will work. You also need a soft wash brush. Wash brushes can be round or flat. This is one of the reference photos, which can be downloaded free at watsonwatercolor.com. Another important need is a big puddle of the color. Most people run out of paint when they do a wash, and that causes problems. So don't be most people. Mix up more paint than you think you'll need. My puddle is mostly phthalo blue, but I add just a touch of red and yellow to tone it down a tiny bit. Test your puddle on scrap paper and keep adding color until you think it's the correct color and value. Remember that you're going to be painting on wet paper, so your wash should look a little darker than you want. Okay. Our first step before you start painting is to wet the background, going around the bird and the flowers. I'm just doing the top. Now, watercolor paper expands when it's wet, so don't tape it down when you're doing a background. It will help if you wet the back of the paper first. Wet it really well, lay it on your board, and then wet the front of the paper. To wet the paper around the bird without getting sloppy, it's easier to use a small brush. I'm adding a touch of the blue color so you can see what I'm wetting. The beak is going to be very dark, so you don't have to worry about going around the beak carefully. You can go right over the beak. If it still buckles up, usually that's because some part of the back of the paper has started to dry, so you can lift it up and re-wet the back. Don't skimp on the wetting part. This is an important step for a smooth background. You want your paper quite soaked, but not dripping. You can tilt your paper up to run off any excess liquid. Once your paper is wet and laying flat, use your big brush to mop on the color. Use as few brush strokes as possible. Switch back to the small brush to get the color right next to the flower and bird edges. Remember that this is going to dry lighter. Wet on wet washes dry much lighter. If the color doesn't blend smoothly, tilt the paper back and forth. Up and down, tilt it diagonally. Don't be afraid to just tilt it until you have a wash you like. If the paint doesn't move at all, it's not wet enough, and you could add a little bit more water with a misting bottle. If you have puddles of standing water anywhere on the paper or on the edges, wick up the extra liquid with a paper towel and then dry this well. Next, we're going to continue the wash on the bottom. Now, the bottom's going to be mostly green. That's your blue plus a little yellow. I'm mixing up an area of green, and I'll just get the yellow right from my palette well. I don't want the background to be all blue on the top and all green on the bottom. So I'm bringing some of the blue down around the bird. Then I wet the bottom with my big wash brush and small brush. Once the bottom is evenly wet and flat, you can use your small brush to paint on some areas of green and yellow or blue. You don't want spots of color. You just want a little variety and a few masses of color. Okay, mine is so wet that the colors are mostly just running together. So I dip into the blue for even more variety. I do want some of the green peeking up into the top blue area on each side. Since I want soft edges, I'll be doing that wet on wet. I wet those areas with clean water. Then I bring some of the green up with a small brush. Once again, if there's any standing water, standing paint on the bottom, wick it up with the paper towel. Okay, here's a thicker blue with yellow for a darker green, and I'm adding a few areas of darker green in kind of a subtle diagonal. Okay, once this starts to dry, when the shine goes off the wet areas, you can sprinkle this with table salt. Now, I don't sprinkle it evenly. I just kind of sprinkle it in random places. This is creating a texture as the paint dries. You need to let this dry by itself for at least 5 or 10 minutes until you see the salt effects. This doesn't always work, but it can add a lot of interest, especially to foliage. Once it's stopped having effects, you can dry it with your hair dryer and brush off the extra salt into the trash can. Now, my paper keeps warping, so I tape it around the edges to keep it flat. At this point, we're done with the background wash, and taping is fine. Notice that the edges of the flowers and the bird are a little ragged looking. It's almost impossible to do a perfect wash and keep your details crisp. So here's a nifty tool for lifting and fixing edges. It's called the Incredible Nib. You dip the nib in water and lightly rub the offending edges. Then dab up the reactivated paint with a paper towel. Now, this will rough up your paper, but it is a quick and easy way to clean up edges. You can also re-wet the edges with a brush, gently rubbing to reactivate the paint, and dab that up with a paper towel. That takes longer and it's a little hard on your brushes. Next, we're going to paint the bluebird, so get out more blue. Start at the top of the bird with a small brush and apply a wash of blue to everything that is not white or orange. This is our first flat wash. For the orange, I'm mixing orange by using a little red and a little yellow. Bluebirds have a bit of orange under the left side of the head, on their neck, and there's a little showing on either side of the blue body. Black. Black can be tough for beginners to mix. If you want to use a tube black, if it matches well, that's fine. To mix a black, mix blue with red, thick paint to make a purple. I usually use about 1/3 blue and 2/3 red. Then add a little yellow. If yours turns green, you need to add more red. You keep adding red, blue, yellow. Balancing 3 colors can be tough. So if you're making your own black, make more than you think you'll need so you don't have to do it again. You need black not only for the details on the bird, but also for the fence rail. so mix plenty. Use black to paint the beak and the eye. Now pay close attention to the shape of the beak and where they go. It's nice to keep a big photo of the bird's head right there so you can see it well. That's your center of interest. Then you can paint all those little black feathers in the folded wings. Leave the little bit of white around the edge of those feathers if you can. Establishing the black early in painting your bluebird is going to help you judge the values when you put your shading in. The bottom edges of the tail feathers are also black, and the bottom of the fence rail, and the edges of the bird's two legs. You can see a little bit on either side. Now for the shading. The area between the wings is darker. To make this darker color, you can mix your blue and your black. I'm going to start with shading the head. I'm going to wet the head just a bit. It's not soaked like I'm doing a background wash, just moistened. Having the photo where I can see it easily, I see that the head is light blue on the top left side where the sun is hitting, and getting darker blue as it goes down toward the body. The area around the eye is much darker blue. I'm very careful with that. I dot the darker shade in carefully, just one dot at a time, to see how far it's going to spread and to try to get that dark blue laid in softly. Then dry that well. You can always fold your photo and hold it up to the painting to help you judge how much darker your bird needs to be. My blue needs another coat, everywhere but the top left. The eye kind of disappears into that dark area. It's defined by a few tiny lines of white in the top left and the bottom right that give it the eye shape. I'm using opaque white paint, but you can also use a white pen to apply tiny lines. For the body of the bluebird, it's mostly a medium blue but lighter across the shoulders. I paint the bottom of the body with the darker blue, and then to merge the darker blue into the lighter area, I use some tiny blue lines. The top of the fence gets a light blue also. Finally, let's do the flowers. Wet the area around each center. Add some shading. That's just a light blue-gray, light blue plus a tiny little bit of black. Use a paper towel to wipe the color off a few of the petals. You can also paint shading with a small brush. Don't outline every petal. Shade the petals that are below the other petals or behind the other petals. It doesn't take much. Then paint the centers with orange. Don't worry if some of the orange seeps out into some of the shading. It's actually a nice look. You can mix a darker orange or a brown by mixing orange and black. Paint the bottom right side of the petals with your darker orange and bring a little bit of that color in the bases of the petals on the right side of the center. Then use opaque white to clean up any edges on the flowers, or you can put dots in the center. Whatever you like to make your flowers look good. Evaluate. You can smooth out any areas that look rough by just using a damp brush. Rub them gently. If you want some detail in the green, if that's too abstract for you, you can add a stem coming down from the flower on the left. But don't run it all the way out of the painting. Let it just disappear into the greenery so it doesn't lead your viewer's eye out of the painting. One way to suggest leaves, besides painting the leaf, is to draw where the leaf edges will be, then use darker green behind the leaf edges. Rinse your brush with clean water and soften the outside edge of that dark green. That leaves you with a suggestion of a leaf with the green that's already painted on. That's a really nice effect to suggest detail without overworking this non-essential area. Once again, here's our comparison. I noticed that the white edges of the wingtips need to be toned down a bit. They stand out. That white is powerful. For this picture, you could always add a few blades of grass coming up around the bird also. Your painting does not need to be exactly like mine to be good. Experiment, try different things, make a bunch of cards. See what you like best. That's what's important. Check out the free Bluebird lesson at Watson Watercolor. After the class, I'll put a few of the student paintings on so you can see how they turned out and what they thought was the hardest part of this lesson. Backgrounds can be the quickest, easiest part of your painting once you master the techniques. It may seem scary with that big area and all that paint, but just dive in. Try them again and again and again until you have a good handle on backgrounds. It will add a tremendous amount to your watercolors, and you will be glad you did. Happy painting!